What is going on, everybody? Welcome into The Highlight. It's as you know, a serious business podcast for all the serious business people in the world. Obviously, we take ourselves super seriously here. Austin, what's
seriously.
up, man?
Not too much. Just feeling serious, getting some serious work done as well.
That's it. Yeah, you look like you're about to get some serious tattoo work done. You were like flexing in the camera before I signed on. I don't know if you knew I was here or if it was like a two-way mirror situation.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to give you something to look forward to. But look,
Every day.
he's right. I am about to get another tattoo done, and I'm really excited about it. So, about, I don't know, maybe 9 months ago, I got this turtle here, which every tattoo I have resembles a person or something that means something to me in life. And so this sea turtle I got right after my son Miles was born, and my wife has a matching one. And I'm kind of going for eventually having kind of this upper part of my arm sort of sleeved up. And so this is going to be sort of an ocean background. There'll be a little bit of a floor here. And yeah, I'm getting that done in about 3 weeks. So maybe in about a month, I'll be able to update the team here on how it went and how it looks. Hopefully you'll be blown away by how good it looks.
I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Now, I've never gotten a tattoo. I'm a little afraid of the needle, and I'm also a little bit afraid I'll get addicted to them and then end up with them on my face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a real problem. I mean, I see people like do that all the time. I do think that the highlight across your forehead would look pretty nice personally, but that's just me. I'd be happy to go with you to get that one too, if you like.
I was going to say, how much is the company willing to pay for my forehead? It's like the Ricky Bobby scene in Talladega Nights where he sells the Fig Newton windshield.
Oh, it's so good. I do love Fig Newtons. Oh man. Well, I think we'd be willing to pay the cost of the tattoo, probably only a couple $100. Not too bad.
Oh wow, you're going to
do you think?
Tattoo for me? It's not even. Wow, what generosity here! Don't let anybody say you that we're not generous at High Beam Marketing, because
it's true.
Sir, we are very much so.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of being generous, I am going to continue being the king of the transition, and I figured out. Oh, I meant to say this too. Being good at transitions is simply embracing your inner dad joke. It is finding the cheesiest, tackiest, corniest way to take whatever you just said and flip it and bring on the next thing. And so with that being said, last episode was my peak of the transition. One of my responsibilities on the podcast is to bring the transition from segment to segment. And last week I figured it out. It is cracking into the dad jokeness. I've got some friends that are really good at dad jokes. I can't wait to have them on, because I feel like they're going to help us take it to an even higher level. But
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So today, Austin and I were talking, like, what do we want to talk about this week? We've covered a bunch of random things, a lot of business things, a lot of mindset things. Last week, we had a great episode on time management tools. And if you haven't listened to that, I highly recommend you pause this and go check that one out first, because you're probably wasting time. And get your time back, and then you can get better. But today, we're going to be a little bit inside baseball. High Beam Marketing is the company Austin and I run together, and we're going to actually do a podcast today on marketing.
Amazing.
I feel like we should insert some like cheers here or something like that. The people have been asking for it, and we're bringing it in here. And I put this outline together because the company's about a year old now, and you and I have been doing marketing together almost 20 years. Which is crazy. And all of that is in the digital space. And you and I were talking about mistakes people make with their digital marketing campaigns. And these are the top 5 things that we sort of came up with. The things that come up time and time again. Every single sales call we get on, it's kind of funny at this point, even after 1 year, as we're talking to other small business owners, these are the things that keep coming up as pain points. And today we're gonna address it. All right, so here it is: the 5 reasons your marketing plan sucks. Sorry for the strong language. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Number 1, you're really unclear on who you're trying to reach. You, along with everybody else on the planet, think that your product and service is so great that every single person on the planet should buy it, and that's just not true. It is so insane to think that every single person on the planet will buy it. And here's the exact story that comes up in sales call after sales call after sales call. We ask the question, well, who are you trying to reach? It's one of the first questions we ask, because marketing is basically like having a bunch of tools in front of you. There's Facebook ads, there's Google ads, there's organic social, there's podcasting like this, there's YouTube, there's billboards, there's newspaper, there's bus bench ads. There are infinite ways to advertise. And until you can clearly articulate who you're trying to reach, you will never know which tool to pick up. You don't know what job you're trying to get done. And
man, it's perfect.
Yeah, I think that I do like a compliment. I think I understand. I am empathetic to the business owner out there that says, I want everybody to love my product because I love it. And that's fair. You do, and you should love what you do. That's why you're in the business you're in. But the faster you understand that your product is not for everyone, the better off you will be. You find your group of people that believe what you believe, want what you have, and are willing to pay what you deserve to make a profit, and you just go after them and you ignore everybody else. You don't need to be Facebook, where you've got 2 billion people on the planet. And by the way, even Facebook's not for everybody, because their user numbers, if you believe them, are down. I'm of the opinion they're down even more. It's a little conspiracy theory, but like, there's other social media apps out there now for everybody else. There's always another option for another tribe of people. Understand what tribe you lead and go from there. What do you think about that, Austin?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, especially when you're in the kind of new phase of starting and building up your business, you need to know who you're going after, and you need to be very intentional about going after those people and not a whole bunch of other groups that you think maybe should want your product on the line. You need to find the exact group that it's perfect for. I remember one time I had a prospect kind of say, hey, can you look at this campaign I did in the past? I felt like it, could have done better or whatever. And I went in, and they literally were targeting everyone in the entire United States. It was a very specific niche DVD set. So, pretty highly specific customer for this niche. And they were targeting everyone in the United States. So like 350 million people plus. So obviously there was some feedback there, and we got them straightened out and we got them on the right path. But yeah, it's incredibly important. Otherwise, these tools that you mentioned are just going to go kind of underutilized, even if you think you might be doing it right.
Yeah, and this is not on our list, but a little bonus tip for you here. Facebook, Google, every billboard company in America, every newspaper advertiser, every advertiser that wants to sell you something, guess what? They will all gladly take your money if you say you want to run an ad on their platform or in their media. They will happily take your money. And a lot, especially the digital ones, are optimized to spend it quickly and up to the level you obligate it for. So if you say you want to spend $50 a day, guess what? They're going to do everything in their power to find a way to spend $50 a day, which multiplied out is what? $1,500 a month. It's pretty easy to blow a couple $1,000s on digital ads. And if you're not paying attention and you're not focused first on who you're trying to reach, you're gonna end up being the one that calls us and says advertising doesn't work, and then I got to have a whole 2-hour conversation with you about, well, you suffered from random acts of marketing, and we're here to help, and like, let's shortcut that whole conversation right here by listening to this podcast. All right.
Yeah, totally agree.
Number 2, this one is going to be tough, because the first one is really about you being a good business owner and not necessarily a good marketer. Those are two different things. And I can forgive you for that. The second one, though, is you as the business owner, you're going to have to work on yourself internally just a little bit. And it's going to be a hard pill for some of you out there to swallow. Your marketing plan is about what you want and not about what the customer wants.
Oof.
Let me say it one more time. The marketing plan you have put in place is only focused on what you want out of it, and it has nothing to do with what the customer needs in this moment. And what I mean by that is, you've put this ad up. This customer doesn't know who you are, and you've just interrupted their day. You've interrupted their Facebook scroll. If you've bought a billboard, you've interrupted their drive. And you've just thrown this giant, obnoxious thing in their face. You've given them no value, and all you've done is ask. Like, did that ever work for anybody back in the day in college when we were trying to date people, like before we were married? Did that ever work to just walk up to a woman and go, you should marry me on conversation one? It just like, it doesn't work. And by the way, if it does work, I don't think you want to marry that girl.
Yeah, probably not. I wouldn't recommend it.
10 of 10. I don't know.
If you only want to be married once.
Have you seen the show on, I think it's on Lifetime, maybe? Little too vulnerable for me here. Lifetime has a show called Married at First Sight, which is insane.
Oh, yeah.
People get legally
married. I hate to admit that I have seen that one.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. McDonald's for my soul. I love some reality TV.
Yeah.
Anyways, the point here is this. Like, you have to change your mindset about what advertising is. You know, another analogy we use at High Beam all the time is marketing is like farming. You are going to have to go out and plant seeds on day one. If you then turn around and go out to the field the next day and start yelling at the ground to say, hey, where's the corn? Like, give me the food. Like, you just look dumb. And that's exactly what happens when you run an advertising campaign. And on day two, or more realistically, we've had this happen a couple times. Week 3, you're getting this call back going, why aren't we ROI? Why haven't we done this? Like, you don't know what you don't know. And you've set up the campaign for based on what you want and not what the customer needs. So, sorry, this is something I'm really passionate about, but go ahead.
No, it's a very fair point. And I think to your point, like when you say you just go out and throw this big giant ask in their face and expect them to respond and you expect to ROI immediately. The problem is you haven't done the work of planting the seeds, watering them, nurturing them, taking care of them over time. And then once they're ready, harvest. You haven't done any of that work ahead of time. So it's so critical that you think about the customer and you think about ways that you can enrich them before asking to, for them to buy your product or for them to subscribe to your newsletter or any of those things. You've got to do the hard work and make sure that they know that you're actually on their side and that you're not just trying to convert them once and then kind of, leave it be that.
Yeah,
exactly.
These first 3, I'm about to read off number 3 here. The first 3 here are really about changing your mindset when it comes to marketing campaigns, because so much of what drives a successful marketing campaign is proper expectations from you, the business owner or the stakeholder in the beginning. And you're just going to have a unsuccessful marketing campaign every single time if you have the wrong expectation for it, So anyways. All right. Number 3, your goals are off because your budget is too small or your timeline is too short. And I realize the term goal might be too insider baseball here. What that means in marketing speak between people like Austin and I, goals mean revenue. Your revenue is not as high as you think it should be. And here's the honest to God truth. Your budget's probably too small. And again, back to the previous example, your timeline is way too short. Like, you are competing on the internet for ads with McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Apple. Insert any other Fortune 500 company here that has untold billions of dollars to spend on advertising. And here you are arguing with us about spending $10, $15 a day. It's like, what did you expect was going to happen? And then you're trying to also turn around and sell what, $400, $500, $600 product on the internet without anybody knowing who you are yet. You just cannot do that. You have to have a reasonable expectation for what your budget is and what you can actually expect to get back.
Man, this one hits a nerve for me. As the guy that kind of leads paid media and, advertising activities, I see this all the time. And I'm going to address each of these kind of, your budget's too small and also your timeline is too short. Your timeline is going to be too short, most likely because it takes time to get effective campaigns in place. We just talked about how you have to plant the seeds, you have to grow your audience, you have to nurture them, and then harvest. You also have to do that in a way with your campaigns. So, for example, paid search, Google ads, Bing ads, Amazon ads. These learn over time as you give them more and more information. So as they drive conversions, they're learning better and better and better. So you can't expect to launch a campaign and in 2 weeks have it perform the same way it would 9 months down the line, 2 years, 3, 10 years down the line. The McDonald's of the world, the Chick-fil-A's, the Apples, they've been advertising consistently for years, and they're probably increasing their budget every year as they see things work and grow. And the problem is you're not doing the same thing. And you don't have to do it to the same scale. You don't have to spend, $300 million a year like McDonald's probably is. I don't know. I just made that number up. But just, be realistic about what you're trying to do. One of the best examples I can think of recently was, I've worked with someone that sells an e-commerce product that's probably in the, $30 to $100 order value. And they want to run, let's say, $5,000 worth of marketing activity, including the cost it might take to manage those ads. So what it costs to pay us. And you look at, the rest of the ad spend and you say, okay, well, these 5x'd, and it's like, wow, 5x, like that's an amazing number. And it is, by the way. You should be happy with really probably a 4 and above no matter what. But the problem is, you only spent, let's say, $3,000, $4,000, and you 5x'd, and so you made 15 to 20 grand. But then you start looking at, oh man, well, I paid this much to have it managed, and we paid this much for shipping, and this much for Amazon's fees, and this much for the product cost. And you start to look at it and you say, man, maybe this isn't as high of an ROI as I thought. The reality is, if you know that you could scale those ads from 3 to 5,000 a month to 10 to 15,000 a month, and you can get that same return, you're going to have a lot more margin to play with, because things like management fees, they don't increase that much as you build. So that is one thing that obviously I'm super passionate about being in the advertising space, is making sure that you're spending up to the point of depreciating returns if you're getting a good ROI. And that's something that we at High Beam Marketing are quite frankly good at doing. We can do a lot of research and a lot of analysis on what other people in the industry are doing, as well as what you're doing, and kind of come up with a plan that will say, hey, this is where your ceiling actually is. And if you keep returning at, X number, X multiple, you'll actually see a much better return. So like Chandler said, I mean, ensure that you're spending the right money. Don't feel like you have to come up with this number on your own. Reach out, to an expert for help, figure out what that number is, and then commit to it over a long period of time. Give it 6 to 12 months and just commit to your business growing. And you should start to see some really good progress, in months 3, 4, 5, 6, and ongoing, once you've given that campaign time to learn and optimize.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think obviously, we believe in what we do because we love marketing, and that's why we started High Beam Marketing. And that perfectly segues us into point 4, which is you're not working with the right partners to execute the campaign you do have. And here's the thing. When you're a small business owner, you wear every single hat. On day one, you wear every single hat. If you're lucky enough, like I am, to have a business partner like Austin, like you guys can split hats. Like, one of you can be the bookkeeper, one of you can run paid media, one of you can run content. You wear the different hats. But as you grow, you have to find the right people, and go back to listen to our episode on delegation and what we think about that. But you have to find the right people, bring them on either on a full-time or a contractor basis, and trust them to do the thing that you want done. You've got to find, when I was running Lyles Barbecue, I knew that I needed to do advertising. And I believed that it was Facebook and Instagram ads back in 2017, 2018 when we were doing it. I believed that those were the best ad platforms for me to do. And what I did is what I would recommend you do. I went on YouTube. I taught myself everything I could find about how to run Facebook and Instagram ads. Well, here's the problem. I am not somebody who loves a bunch of details. I am somebody who's going to get something launched to a good enough level and then just let it run. And then also, I am not going to go in and set it up to the full effect that it could be set up. I never, Austin, you're going to hate this. I didn't track one single conversion, and I probably spent $220,000 over 6 years on Facebook ads. Couldn't tell you if it converted one thing. Revenue went up every year. That's about what I said. Exactly. But I had the wrong mentality. I was being cheap. I said, I'm not going to pay somebody 20% of ad spend to manage the ads. Are you kidding me? And what I didn't realize was that a partner like that could do what you've taught me, which is, hey, Chandler, we're going to run 20 different campaigns and we're going to figure out the 5 that work. And then we're going to optimize them. And then here's all the data that supports the decisions we're making. And we're going to be the ones that actually go out and do it versus you trying to worry about it. In the middle of when I was running a restaurant, I had staffing issues. I had customer service issues. I had
You were busy leading the business.
Yeah, you're busy being the business owner. So do that. And maybe we're biased and it's fair enough to call out, but marketing is too important of an activity for you to just sit there and think that you can just do it in-house and it's fine. Word of mouth and referrals is only going to take your business so far. If you want to grow, get serious about marketing and get the right people on board. We'll talk about the free marketing audit that High Beam Marketing has later, but we would love to be in the conversation with you, obviously. But if you've got the money to bring somebody else on to do it now. If you're in a position where you can do it, keep listening to podcasts like this, go on YouTube, find stuff, but dedicate yourself to getting smarter in these areas every single week. Don't just set it and forget it. You have to be actively learning. I'm just thinking about this now. Getting the right partner could be the right teacher too. Finding the right online course, finding the right YouTube channel, something it's all there for free. Don't pay for a course. Get that stuff. But then very quickly find somebody else to run the ads for you because you need to go run your business and you don't need to be a paid media specialist.
Yeah, I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to, especially when we're talking about digital ad platforms, I think people don't realize how quickly these things change. And, the cool thing about working with someone like us is, we have, I don't know how many calls a week I have with representatives from Facebook, Microsoft, Google, TikTok. There's so many meetings that we go to. And really what we're doing in those meetings is committing to learning about what the next thing is. What are we doing now? What can we be improving? And what's coming down the pipeline that we need to know about? Because, in 2021, we learned that when Apple and Facebook went to war with each other, everything changed at once. And if you were advertising during that time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You probably saw all kinds of flags, exclamation points, red text everywhere in your Facebook dashboard, and you're probably thinking, what the heck is going on? I saw people panic because their performance tanked overnight because they just didn't know what to do with all these alerts. And so, that's the other benefit of working with someone who is in the business, learning these things on a daily basis. You're not going to have things slip through the cracks that you're unaware of. That might take, that particular issue, that took weeks of just dedication and learning to understand how to actually take someone's account from all those alerts, red flags, red texts, etc., to in the green, continuing to learn, continuing to optimize, continuing to get better, instead of going the other direction and the entire campaign and the entire account just tanking. Yep. So,
how much ad spend have you done over your career? How much have you spent on the internet?
I'm probably getting close to 50 million. Yeah. The most I ever managed in 1 year, you know what? I might even be getting close to 100 million. That'd be fun to look at. I know the most I ever did in 1 year was 25, and I did that once. And since then, it's been well over $1 million a year. But I bet we're probably getting close to 100 actually, if I really took the time to tally it all up. It's a scary amount.
I'm trying to make it's a lot of money. The point I'm trying to make is that you have one person on our team. That's just one of the paid media people we have.
Yeah,
has spent $100 million probably over his career. Has seen a decade's worth of changes come and go to the digital advertising space, and you think that because you've run a couple semi-successful campaigns on Facebook in the last 6 months and you watch some YouTube videos, you're feeling pretty good about yourself because somebody came into your business and said, oh, I saw a Facebook ad and that's why I'm here. I'm telling the story because this is literally what happened to me. I was at the cash register. People would come up and say, I saw the Facebook ad. And I was like, ad's working. There's attribution right there. You cannot, there's not enough time in your day as a busy business owner to go out and get the experience that one of the paid media people at High Beam has. And whether you use us or somebody else, I just want you to go win as a business owner. So find the right person, bring them in, and then trust them to do their job. Listen to them as they help you identify who you're trying to reach, identify what the issues are with your marketing plan, help you set reasonable goals, and then trust them to do their job. Like that's it. So
my selfish plug in addition to that is, all the senior specialists at High Beam Marketing, we've all spent at least 25 million over our career. That's sort of the number. It's not the perfect number, but it's a number that I look at and I say, okay, that is a significant amount of money. It represents a significant amount of trust that these businesses have put, spoiler alert, I don't have $25 million in my bank account sitting around for me to be spending this. So obviously other people, other businesses and entities are trusting us with that. And so that's the little selfish plug I would add, is that all of our senior specialists have done that level of work. And that's kind of why, we feel we're so well positioned to take care of our clients the way we do.
For a reasonable discounted rate, you're going to buy all that experience. Like, you're not paying for it full time, you're getting it part time, and that's a pretty good deal. And that's why High Beam has been so successful. You're learning from their decades of experience. And on top of that, we have, 10 to 15 clients right now we're managing on any given month. And so you're learning across 15 different industries.
Definitely.
And 15 different ad spend amounts, because some of them are spending $100,000 a month. So you're going to get all the benefit of that for free. I mean, there's just so many compounding benefits. I think I'm stuck on this because to be vulnerable for real, like, it's just frustrating to have to like explain to people constantly, like, hey, this is why you need to trust somebody else to come in and help you get the goals you want accomplished. So,
right.
All right. Last thing on my list here. And this is another mindset thing. It's simply that you're not being generous enough. And why I framed it that way is, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about our favorite books for business owners to read. And one of mine was, let's see if I can find it here. One of my recommendations was Influence by Robert Cialdini. And he talks about in this book a principle of influence. I think there's 6. And one of them is reciprocity. And I went into it a lot in the last episode. If you're interested in it, go check that out. It's a bunch of great book recommendations in that episode. But, influence, when you understand it, it is the most important thing you can apply to any marketing campaign. When you hear marketers say, we want you to provide value before you ask for something. Value, from a marketer standpoint, is entertainment and education combined. You're entertaining people about your content. You're educating them about it. There's like an 85 to 15% ratio there. And you're doing those two things. And when you combine them together, that is value-driven content. And when somebody gets value content from your brand, they feel like they owe you something now, because in their mind, you've basically deposited money into their emotional bank account. And the more times you do that with more great content marketing, things like this podcast, things like social media, things like reels, like blogs, insert any content here that is value, which is, again, education and entertainment around the thing your company does. Anytime you do that, you've deposited more value into that customer's emotional bank account. And then once you've built up a big enough balance, that customer will do one of two things. They will start recommending and referring you to other people, or they're just going to come and outright buy from you. And that is what having a spirit of generosity on the front end will get you when it comes to a marketing campaign. You're going to build up so much goodwill in the market, which you can't track, which I love, is like the emotional, like, visionary type. I don't want to see the data. I want to do the right thing, and I know it's going to work. And that's what this is. Doing the right thing of just helping people works.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the intangibles. And, as a guy that loves to track data, it is harder for me to understand, but it is important for me to kind of just, swallow that pill and say, yeah, it's something we have to do, because without reciprocity, to your point, who's going to recommend us? Who's going to refer us? And that's the way you build your business. You can grow on your network, to an extent, but at some point you need those people selling for you kind of indirectly, and, being generous is the way to get there.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think we're a little aggravated today. I think we went a little too hard, so we're going to get out of here. We're not going to beleaguer the point. We're not going to do a real ad read today. High Beam Marketing, get your free audit, figure it out. It's in the show notes. Austin, give them something a little easier to eat.
Yeah.
As we leave here today, bring the milkshake to the yard.
You got it. So that's what we're good at. We're good at bringing the milkshakes to the yard. So if you don't know, Chandler and I are both dads. He doesn't know what I'm about to talk about, but we're both dads of young kids, and an earth-shattering moment happened within the last week, and I would be remiss if I did not bring it up and praise this thing. So, if you didn't know already, I'm going to introduce you to a great and growing friend of mine. This is Bluey.
Oh
and Bluey just released his 3rd season this last week. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Bluey. He's keeping the kids entertained. He's doing a great job. We all trust him. We all love him. And yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to Bluey this week because 2 seasons was simply not enough. So here's to season 3. Bluey, we love you. Thank you.
I'm not going to tell you what just happened if you're listening on the podcast. You're going to have to go look at the YouTube channel and see what I'm dealing with on a daily basis here. That's why I'm so aggravated today. Is this just in general? This is the nonsense I got to put up with as we're trying to grow a company here. It's HR is going to want to talk to you after this. That I know for a fact. For a fact.
Hey, we love our guy Bluey.
Did you know? I've never seen one episode of Bluey. Probably not shocking. Number 2. Bluey has a little bit of controversy, which we can look up offline here, but apparently they do a little bit of censorship for the episodes before they
I did hear about that.
Stateside. So Bluey is not without his gotchas. So
yeah. Well,
sorry
aren't we all
on your parade? Man, I do want to say this before we let everybody go. As an owner of a small business, I really want to see you guys win. And that's why we're so passionate about this is like, yeah, I'm just having the same conversations over and over and over again every single week. And like, I'm just to the point now where I'm so passionate about it. I've got to get up and yell about it because it's like, you guys got to learn this stuff because if you don't, you're going to be one of the businesses that end up closing because you don't understand a true principle of business, which is advertising. Advertising and sales are 2 core principles. We really specialize in marketing and advertising. Sales is somebody else, but we do appreciate you guys listening each and every week, and that's it. We'll see you next time.
See ya.